Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Tamu of Coaching by Tamu and Innovative Education and Training Solutions. So let me just say that again. Hi, I'm Dr. Tamu Petra Brown, the founder of Innovative Education and Training Solutions and Coaching by Tamu. Hello, Team SKN Inc. Thank you for joining. I don't normally do lives, but I know that it's Christmas time and a lot of the entrepreneurs that follow me and a lot of the entrepreneurs that I coach, they are busy creating strategies for 2020. Well, some of them are creating goals, but they might not be creating strategy, and that's important to understand the difference. But what I want to talk about is I want to discuss the importance of networks when creating strategies, okay, and the importance of revenue goals when creating strategies, and the importance of your value when creating strategy. So hi, Rich Chev, thank you for joining. Everyone, do share that I'm on live because I'm not often on live and I won't be often on live. And if you have any questions, type them and I'll respond. So let's talk about strategy and how strategy is different to goal setting. I think this is important. So strategy is the how you accomplish what you want. All right? So before you can set any strategy, you have to set a goal. Okay? And the goal must be set after you set the vision for your enterprise, for your empire. So that's how it works. Vision, goal, strategy, and they are all in alignment. So let's give an example. What is your vision? So your vision is your big dream for your enterprise. So Rich Chev, can you tell me what is a vision that you have for your venture? Team SKN Inc., tell me what is the vision you have. So for instance, maybe Coaching by Tamu's vision, or the vision I have for Coaching by Tamu, is to help, well, this is my vision, to help Black women specifically, Caribbean women as well, because we have some Caribbean women that are not Black women. So Caribbean women, but Black women in general, to scale their businesses to six-figure, 6-figure, and eventually 7-figure businesses. So my goal really is to move women from small enterprise to scaled enterprise where they become millionaires. We have so many small businesses and we all begin small. But when are we going to grow now? When are we going to scale? So that is my area of specialization. That's my doctoral area. That's my research area. And, this is my vision. So my vision for Coaching by Tamu is that Coaching by Tamu works primarily and has impact in the world by leveraging women's ventures and moving them from small to scaled, from $100 ventures, $1,000 ventures to hundreds of $1,000s of revenue. So that's the vision. Okay. So let's look at how you would set a goal, right? So if this is my vision, that means that I have to set some goals that will help me achieve that vision. So I don't like to set too many goals. When you set too many goals, you become too distracted. The truth is that focus is power, okay? And actually, there's research that shows that when you multitask, your IQ falls to that of an 8-year-old. And so though we pride ourselves in multitasking, the real quality of work comes from deep work or focus. So if you have, and there's actually a book, I think by Cal Newport, that I've read called Deep Work, and he shows you how to do, deep work. So it's something that I have practiced and I still practice. So if you have too many goals, then your what's the word I'm looking for? Your energies become diluted. So Rich Chev says, the vision for... Rich Chev, are you a girl? So Rich Chev says, the vision for Rich Chev's business is to become a household name worldwide. So that's an awesome vision. So let's try to set a goal for 2020, Rich Chev, that helps you achieve that vision. So every goal you set should be in alignment with the vision. So if you want to become a household name worldwide, it probably means that one of your goals should be aligned with marketing, because you can have the best product, service, most impactful venture idea, but no one knows about it. And so to become a household name, it means then that you have to be known. So that means you have to set some goals around marketing your venture and yourself in order to become a household name. Does that make sense, Richard? Now, let me interject something here. Now, oftentimes we think that marketing is just like advertising, like getting up on Instagram, doing things, doing Facebook ads, that sort of thing. That is not the only way you can market. And this is why we talk about networking. And so, Richev, you have to create a goal. That's right. You have to create a goal that will transition you from local to global. So how are you going to be known? So maybe a goal you might have is to, and let's do like a simple goal. A goal that might be good for you would be, hi Empress. A goal that might be good for you, Richev, might be to create a promotional, let me not even say promotional, create a public relations strategy that rolls out by the end of the first quarter in order to become more known. So when we look at that goal, we can see a number of things about the goal. One, it aligns with your vision, right? So we're talking about PR. How are we going to be known, right? Because that's what you want to do. But we're very specific. We're talking about a PR campaign. We're talking about the time. So we want to roll that out. So we want to have your PR campaign in full gear by the first quarter of 2020. So that's a goal right there. So then let's look at the strategy now to achieve that goal. So we know what we want to do. We want that promotional, that public relations campaign. But what's next? So now the strategy is the how. Now, you want to look at all the facets of public relations. So some of that is marketing. Some of that is getting in newspapers, getting in front of cameras, getting on television shows. But what you choose for your PR campaign should be based on who your audience is. So nothing that you do in entrepreneurship is in a vacuum. It always boils down to who you want your ideal customer to be. So you want to sit and you want to think about, okay, how would my ideal customer in households across, remember you said the world now, right? So actually, let me go back and fix your goal that I did for you. Since you said the world, we want to have a public relations campaign that is local, regional, and global. And maybe you're rolling out the local first, the regional steering on top of that, second, and third, scaffolding on top of that internationally. And you would probably want to set different time frames for each level. Okay? So that's the strategy. Now, when we talk about strategy, a thing that women do not do is that they do not network. And this has nothing to do with just women in the Caribbean. This is a global phenomenon that women do not network as efficiently and effectively as men. So if you like what I'm saying, well, tell me now. Send a little, I don't know what I got down here. I don't do lives. What I have? They have like hearts and stuff. Like, so let me know that I'm making some sense and make sure you're sharing, right? And type, at heart, I'm a teacher, so I always like to give feedback, okay? So thank you. One heart. No man, oh, you all do better than that. Okay, I have some some thumbs up. Thank you. All right. Now let's talk. Thank you, S. Empress. Thank you, Team Eskin. Thank you, Rich Chef. And do share that I'm live. Now let's look at networking. I talk about this like everywhere I go. I am like the evangelist of networking. Why? Because in my research, those years of research, what I found, and the whole basis on which my research was founded, was this concept known as the social network theory of entrepreneurship. And what it really says is that for entrepreneurs to grow their ventures, they have to build networks strategically and leverage those networks. And so this is why you cannot talk strategy or do strategy without having a piece in there about leveraging your networks. So part of your strategy must be, how am I either going to build the right networks and activate those networks in order to reach the goal. So let's talk about some basic networks. So you have two types of networks. They are called strong ties and weak ties. Ties is just another name for relationships. So you could say weak relationships and strong relationships. Now, strong relationships are those relationships that you have, and we don't mean boyfriend-girlfriend story, okay? We mean people that you interface and interact with. So strong ties are those relationships that are long-standing. They are people maybe you have gone to school with, people you know, people in your community, your friends, them kind of thing. People that you have an affinity to. So your group of girlfriends, probably maybe if you work at a company and you all get along and you've been working there for 13 years and they've been working there for 13 years too, then they are your strong ties. Your weak ties are more like acquaintances, people you meet at events, workshops, seminars. You don't talk on the phone every day. They're not your confidant, that kind of story. No, okay? Now, for growing your business, you need to cultivate weak ties, not strong ties. Why? Your strong ties know what you know. They know who you know, and they know how you know. So they bring nothing new to the table. Nothing. Like when you're on Facebook and you see everybody sharing the same meme, like everybody sharing the same meme, same joke, same picture. You know why? Because your Facebook friend list is too filled with similar persons who are thinking the same way. So you're not learning anything new. These things just going around in a circle. The purpose of a network, yes, Empress K. The purpose of a network for an entrepreneur is to bring resources, tangible and intangible resources, to help you build your network. Tangible could be money, access to funding, or it could be information, or it could be connecting you with somebody else you would never have known. And so you have to be strategic about how you create your network. So there's a lot of story where you're just going out with the same people, going to the same places, having the same conversations, you're going to stay the same place. And this is not me saying that. This is years of research saying this. The first study in networks, right, not just different industrial backgrounds, Team SK, but also as diverse as you can get. So different genders, different ages, different religions, different ethnicity, different, because the more different they are, the longer your reach becomes, because you become connected through them. Now, you don't just build any old network though. You don't just go everywhere and be like, hey, my name is Team SK Inc. And no. The network you build should be based on your vision and your goals. So we're going to use Rich Chev's story, right? And we're going to leverage this one. So I gave Rich Chev a strategy of a PR campaign at local, regional, a tiered one, right? International. Which means that in order to get on podcasts internationally, mentions in newspapers internationally, interviewed at something internationally, invited to something internationally, on an Instagram live with somebody in Europe or America or whatever, it means then that as part of your public relations strategy, you have to say, well, where do I need to position myself in order to reach people in media who I would not necessarily reach? So does that mean when they have an event, maybe there's a CARICOM event happening here, they're having conferences more and more in St. Kitts now. I think the other day, what did I see? I forgot. Let's just say that they're having a conference on tech in business, and it costs $100 to go. You pay $100, you research who's going to be there, and you position yourself to have conversations with people about what you do and why what you do is important. You collect their information, and as soon as you go home, if not in the room, you find them on Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever, and you message, hi, remember me? I'm from I hope we can keep in touch. And then you cultivate the network. You have to be visible in their eyes. How networking works is that you have to give before you can get. Also, networking is a long-term process. It is not something that gives dividends instantly. And so I think that's why people don't really understand the importance of the network, because it does not necessarily, it's very rare it has immediate payoff. But networking must be part of your strategy. Now, it's one thing to build the network. So you're going everywhere, you're meeting people, your LinkedIn full, your Facebook full, everybody full, because you're out there making connections. Okay, good. But how are you going to leverage them? So you have all these people in your Rolodex, all these people everywhere, but how are you going to leverage? Now, you leverage through research of these people. So let's say that I want to use Rich Chevy's network or Team SKN Inc.'s network. Well, I have to go online and I have to follow Team SKN Inc. I have to see what Team SK Inc. posts. I have to see what is the discourse, what are the interests of Team SKN Inc., etc. And then when I I reach out, maybe I might like something now and then and comment on things now and then in the social media space. But the comments must be substantive, not like, oh, great, oh, yes, I agree. Them sound real dumb and ridiculous. And nobody trying to align themselves with somebody who sounds empty. So take your time and see what it is they're into and where the synergies lie. because it is where the synergies lie, where you can say, oh yes, like I'm working on so. So for instance, there's this gentleman, he's in charge of Social Impact Lab, I think, Vivek, and he reached out to me on LinkedIn, and he always tags me in posts, and I respond. Like the last post was last week, and he was talking about the role of the MBA, right? The MBA degree and its usefulness in today's society. And so I responded, giving my perspective that, of course, the old MBA has to adapt to the new rules of the world. And the new rule of the world is that even if you are in a business, you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. And so I contributed to that discussion. And so, and he responded, Vivek is halfway around the world. I think Vivek is in India or something, right? And I'm in St. Kitts. But because we are communicating about a topic that we are both interested in, I can leverage the relationship and he can leverage the relationship, right? So this is how it works. Other example. I'm inventing, in the process of invention, of a virtual reality application in the field of entrepreneurship. Now, through my work with business support organizations around the world and regionally, having come into contact with entrepreneurship coaches all over different places of the world, Canada, Trinidad, London, these kind of things. Now that I'm collecting data, I want data from, y'all need to go to my LinkedIn, this link in the bio, Instagram profile, and there's a link there for entrepreneurs who have never pitched. So if you've never pitched at a pitch competition, I still want your input. So you can go there and take the survey. I think it's like 8-9 questions. It's nothing major. I would appreciate that. But I also have a link for people who help entrepreneurs pitch and get investor money and that sort of thing. And because I've had these relationships that I've been cultivating, I've been able to send that out to these investors, etc. Thank you, Richard. And they are responding to the survey. So you have to cultivate. So it's not adding people as friends and following people is not nurturing a network. Okay, that's just adding to a list. The nurturing is the engagement part. And so that is why your network has to be strategic. Because if not, you just fill up your plate with all these people. Can you engage with all these people? No. So you want to target, thank you, Team Esking, you want to target people who align with the strategy and vision that you have. Does that make sense? So it's not just about everybody coming in. It's about the right people who can introduce you to the right people who know things in the part of the world that you want to go to, the new industry, the new product, the new service. So you can't do no strategy story if you're not including the networking part of it. Because the network is like an accelerant, like when you pour oil onto a flame, right? So the network is like that, because you are lighting the fire. The fire is you working hard and posting and making great products. But the network is what's going to get you and your product out there. It's what's going to help you, tell you, there's a conference that's funded in Jamaica. You would not have known that because the people you hang out with don't know that. So there are conversations that you have for your strong network. Your strong ties, they tend to be more useful for moral support. They are also the place you can generally go first for funding. They call it friends and family funding, right? Hi. DK 2.0, right? Thank you, Richard. So the strong people, the people that you know, your family, your close friends, they're good for moral support. They're like, yeah, girl, don't worry, your business gonna get better. You know, when you making no money and can't pay your light bill, like that time, your strong network is great for that. Your strong ties are also great if your strong ties are very connected. So if your strong ties, the people you know well, are really connected people, then that's wonderful as well. Your strong ties are also great for when you are seeking some initial funding, some small funding. So in the entrepreneurship world, that's called your family and friend round. So when you want to grow, you may not want to access debt financing. You may not want to go to the bank and get a loan. Why? Because one, getting a loan is real hard, right? Yes, friends and family funding in SK Rich Chef is, the friend and family fund term, it sounds like it's some kind of big time fund like venture capital and so. No, it's just a term, which means, and this is what it means all over the world, is that you can go to your friends and family first to fund you before trying to do equity funding like angel investors or venture capitalists. So let's say you have your uncle has a little money and you want a 3,000. It's small money. Obviously, the money you could ask from your friends and family depends on their level of wealth. But let's say it's $3,000 you want, whatever currency you're here listening in. And your uncle has done well and he has $3,000. Then if you go to him and say, well, uncle, I would like $3,000 to do, invest in a machine to help me make my product. Okay? Then I always suggest, though, that you do the same as if you would any other investor and you create a contract. So it could be they're like, all right, well, I'm going to need 10% of your profits from now on. Or they're like, I just want X amount back plus interest. Or I'm giving it to you as a grant. Or just pay me $200 back on that and pay me by the end of the year. So that's your friends and family funding. Now, in the Caribbean, I don't think anybody asks their friends for money. I don't think that is part of our culture. But I think that we sometimes overlook family who can assist, but done in a business-like manner. Not like, lend me $3,000 now. No. Like you having a real business conversation with a real contract. Right. My friend and family fund has been more like you. Better sell some of that jewelry and some. I understand what you're saying, but it's just not that way for me. Yeah. I mean, everybody. I don't think, like I said, that the friend. Well, let me not say that. My mother has done some angel investing in me. I think that it depends on your friends and your family. I also think it depends on you as an entrepreneur. If you are comfortable doing a friend and family round, you might not just be. And everybody knows their family and everybody knows their friends. And I find that it is not popular in black societies, worse yet Caribbean societies, but it is something that you can think about. All right? Now, hi Villa G, thank you for joining. So once again, I'm Dr. Tamu Petra Brown of Innovative Education and Training Solutions and Coaching by Tamu. And what we're talking about is setting where you're going in 2020. And I was saying that the first thing you have to have is a vision, because otherwise you're setting your goals in a vacuum. You're just putting them out of the air. That cannot build a sustainable business. Can you make money? Yeah, you can make money. But will it be sustained? No. Because what you're doing is just all willy-nilly. You're like, well, I want to make, $20,000 this year, $100,000 this year. But to what end? And are you going to remain a hustler, or are you going to be building a sustainable business? And so I'm in the business of leveraging what you're doing now and scaling it in a sustainable way so that you have an empire. This is what I'm about, because this is what I'm doing, creating an empire. I'm not creating a hustle. So we have to move from hustle to empire. You understand what I'm saying? So we've talked about the vision. We've talked about goals as the next level and them being specific and so on. We've talked about strategy, and I was saying that without the networking as part of your strategy, then you won't have that accelerant that's going to 10x your strategy, right? Oh, I'm running out of battery. So that's important. Now, another thing that's important when you're creating your strategy is your values. What are the values of your company, and what are your values specifically? Okay? Yes, empire, right? What are your values specifically? Because it is based on your values that you determine the tasks that you can be associated with when undertaking the strategy. So, let's go back with using Rich Chef's example. So, Rich Chef, she's rolling out a public relations campaign, let's say internationally. But Rich Chef doesn't have, let's say she doesn't have a value system clearly defined for herself and her team. And your team is, even if your team is your child who does something for you, it's your team, okay? Because, I use my children all the time, especially my son, right? But your team, so you have to articulate. So you might know what your value system is, but have you articulated it? And this is why it's important, because we're building sustainability. Now, if I say, right, that Coaching by Tamu is primarily positioned to help Black women and Caribbean women, then if I get an invitation to talk at a conference, and when I do my research, the conference organizers have been quoted somewhere as saying anti-Black sentiments, the check might be real big, but it would be against my value system. And so, though it is part of me becoming a household name, it is not an opportunity I would want. Why? Because my people, right? Hi, cutesy accessories. Hi, Nelta. My people are Black women. My people are Caribbean women, and I would definitely isolate all of my customers and clients if I associated with people who were anti-Black. Anybody who has ever been to anything that I have done, they understand that I am very specific and very pro our people. I don't make apologies for it. I'm not anti other people. I'm pro us. And so to align myself with someone who is anti-Blackness and Black wealth is against, my value system, and certainly an insult to my followers. Insult is an insult. So that is why when you are creating your strategy, it is important to articulate your value system, because in the carrying out or undertaking of the strategy, you have to weigh your decisions against the value system. So that's where it goes first. So yes, you want to be a household name, but is this podcast that I'm gonna do, are they, if you're about women power and you've listened to a few episodes of the podcast, and you find that the host has some kind of chauvinistic tendencies, you going on the podcast? You shouldn't be going on the podcast. because you say you're pro-women and you're feminist and whatever. So that's a no. So if you don't have a value system, you risk trying to grow at any cost, which then in the long run damages your sustainability because you isolate the very customers you are trying to gain. And the thing is that in this century that we're living in now, you can't hide anything, right? You can't hide anything because everything is digital and everything has a digital footprint. So you have to include what are your value systems, key values.